Spider-Man. Who doesn't know Spider-Man? I know that he's a comic book character, but I know him through other medias. Movies, cartoons, memes, a lot of memes, and video games. I was introduced to the character through the video games, and the three that I played were Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage, Spider-Man for the PlayStation 1, and Spider-Man the movie, the game. Today I will be talking about my first experience with Spider-Man, which was Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage. This game is based off an actual comic book story in the Spider-Man universe. The main villain of this game is Carnage. He is being sent to prison where he gets his suit and kills everyone. Before escaping, Carnage frees Street and recruits Doppelganger. He is hideous. Then we move to Spider-Man, who is having an existential crisis. As you can see, the game's story is told in comic book panels, which I think is fitting, but it is missing a lot of information to get me invested into it. Superheroes and beat 'em ups are an obvious combination, and this game is no exception. This is a beat 'em up and it has all the elements of it and more. You can punch, jump, throw enemies and objects. It even has that special move that takes away health, which I never liked. Give me an energy bar and let me use those worthless points instead. Another interesting attack is the power hit, which appears when you hit enough enemies in a row without missing, and you can see it coming when your life starts flashing. The spiciness to this game is being able to use the web. There are two buttons for the web. One lets the player web swing around the map, not the most useful ability, but it's there, and the other button has three different uses. If the player just taps the button, it shoots web and binds the enemy for a short time. Holding it down causes a shield to appear that blocks enemy attacks, and pressing the button while holding left or right grabs onto the enemy and pulls them to you into a grab. If two enemies are on both sides of you and you try to web grab one of them, it will pull both of them and smash them together. An awesome attack, but a difficult move to pull off. The web grab was my move of choice, since you could grab the enemy from far away and throw them at other enemies to damage them. There is a good variation of enemies which all have a different strategy to fight against, but when there are a lot of different types of enemies on screen, it becomes hard to not get hit by a random guy you were not paying attention to. This is why web grab was the move I always used. Not only is it a great way to not get hit, but also for crowd control. Enemies are pretty smart, always trying to attack you from both sides and will always move to get behind you. Throwing enemies is a great way to keep multiple enemies on one side of the screen in a safe manner. You can also do this with a grab. It's a shame really, because I like punching the enemy and it's especially satisfying with the punch sound effect. They even added the comic book sound effect words for a nice touch. Speaking of sound, the soundtrack for this game is awesome, with the music made by Green Jello. You should be listening to it right now in the background. You're welcome. It also has a version of Mods Rule by Black Sabbath to add to the awesomeness. As the story goes on, we see Carnage recruit more villains to join his group to cause more destruction. And with Venom wanting to kill Carnage means we can play as Venom, which I think is awesome. In certain missions you can choose to play as Venom, who is stronger than Spider-Man but slower. He has all the same moves as Spider-Man, even the Thing! One-handed bitches! Spider-Man was still my main choice though, because he can grab and throw enemies faster than Venom. Too bad I can't throw bosses. They are the most frustrating thing in this game. There are two types of bosses, mini bosses and the super villains. Mini bosses are new thugs but with more health, not much of a problem, and they even become regular thugs as the game progresses. The super villain fights are the problem. Each one has a quirk on how to fight them, and it's fun figuring out their pattern, except when you have to fight two of them at the same time. Now you have to run around evading them while trying to kill both of them, which is hard. My strategy was to take one of them down as fast as possible by taking hits and getting the invisibility from knockdowns, and then beat the other one. A pretty good strategy, until they start to make you beat a marathon of supervillains. In one go you have to defeat 4 to 5 supervillains in pairs of 2, 4 times throughout the game. The only way I could survive this marathon was by calling heroes for assist that are laying around the map. Each hero has their own attack, which have different effects. Some do damage, one makes enemies HP to 1, and this guy just creepily floats across the screen. The game doesn't tell you what they do, so you have to figure it out on your own. This game is tough and longer than most beat 'em up, especially when you start with only 3 lives and 2 continues. There are continues, hearts that give you health, and lives scattered around the map. Most of them are just above the screen fold, meaning you'll be swinging up or climbing the wall to find secrets. So, instead of playing the game over and over and just wanting to reach the end, I decided to do the only reasonable thing. I'd use cheats, specifically Infinite Life. Towards the end, I had to defeat a marathon of all the supervillains, of course, with Carnage at the end. Then, after the credits, Carnage comes back for a final fight where you can switch between Venom and Spiderman. After defeating him, you have to fight him again, because fuck you if you think you're gonna finish this game. And that's it. They allude to a sequel at the end and arrest Carnage. After beating the game, there is replayability by choosing the other character when given the choice, but that's about it. This is a fun beat 'em up. The plot only has enough information to make some minimal story, but the soundtrack is awesome and the fighting is very satisfying. It's a tough game with a lot of crowd control and fighting multiple bosses at the same time with very few lives and continues. The game is beatable without cheats, but it requires that the player learns all the tricks and locations of items to complete it. This is one of those games you will probably never beat, and each time you pick it up, you play it until that last game over gets to you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. But as always, my lovely patients, thank you so much for watching, and tune in next time.